Hello, this is the second short lecture about reviewing the literature for your research project. This is more for as you get more advanced at using library resources and other resources, and you might find it useful in the second semester, but you might also find it useful for this semester, particularly if you've not found very much reading, because I'm going to talk a little bit more about electronic resources and journal articles. As I mentioned before, the units in the textbook that deal with reading and how to go about it will give you quite a lot of information. This is a bit more detail about the specific ways in which you can do this from within this university and using our library. Do make sure that you use the library to the full. On the library webpage you've got the catalogue, you've got the e-library. You can ask a librarian to answer questions. I've done this in the past and found it very useful. They'll respond as soon as they can, and will take your question seriously. Just make sure that it's not a ridiculously easy question like what are the opening hours, when that's obviously available on the website. Reading lists is to do with modules having reading lists attached to them, and this is more the practical stuff about finding books and so on. There's this video you can watch about students using the library, and they also have a number of online tutorials, such as this one, which is about how to use the library to search for particular items. And I'm hoping this website is now going to open up. So if you go to the website or any of the tutorials like this, you can look at these demonstrations, online sort of screencasts. So for example, finding resources by their subject. It takes you really step by step through how to do this. So you type in your username and password when you get to the e-library. The interface may look slightly different now, but don't worry about that. The procedure is more or less the same. You log in, obviously. Again, I think you probably know how to do that. And here's where it might get beyond what you're already familiar with. You can find a journal by typing by title, but you can also find resources. So if you don't know what journal has the things you're interested in, you can go through this process. So using the Browse by Subject button, you can look at the kind of thing that might be relevant to the project you're interested in. They're going to show us an example now from medicine of what you might be interested in, and show you how to go through the different sorts of resources that are available. I'm going to stop that now because you don't really need to worry too much about it on that particular query, and also you can go back to that page and go through those demonstrations. So do remember that those are there. They're additional to the things that you might have been taught about before. Another thing that you will find are the bibliographic databases. It's quite a mouthful, isn't it? So bibliographic means a list of writings that share a common factor from books and writing in Greek. And you should be building up a bibliography as you compile resources and keeping careful notes with proper referencing and so on. You will then cite some of those sources in your finished project, and that will be your reference list. So that's the difference. A bibliography is a general list of books and items, other items, journal articles and so on that are relevant. A reference list are the ones you've actually used. And a database is a collection of things that you can sort in different ways. So libraries and the information resources systems that they subscribe to will tell you about particular topics in particular ways. So you can search bibliographic databases in a number of different ways, and you can learn to do this using the library resources and the tutorials and so on that are available there. You can also learn more about how to use electronic journals and so on from WebCT. You won't be enrolled on this module unless you enrol yourself, but there are a number of courses that you can enrol yourself onto. They're open to anyone. They're not credit bearing, they're not part of any particular degree, but you can find out about certain topics like this by enrolling on WebCT yourself. And the kind of thing you get there is an explanation about bibliographic databases and the e-journals. And it starts off, I want to find out what articles have been written on a particular topic, and then it explains how you can do that, and there are little activities for you to try. So all of this is developing your basic research skills and your ability to do this kind of research as a group, in a pair, as part of your group, and then individually. So the kind of thing that we might be interested in out of all these many bibliographic databases that the library provides us with might be linguistics and language behaviour abstracts. And again, you can see all the subcategories, applied linguistics, discourse analysis and so on, that come under that bibliographic database. So here's an example of a research project that I'm working on, which is to do with a discourse about non-human animals. And when I went to that bibliographic database, the LLBA, I typed in critical discourse, animals, and I said, I just want to look at scholarly journals. I'm not interested in books because I know a lot about those already. It's scholarly journals that I might not know about. So again, you need to learn how to use these different operators and options and so on, and there's a lot of online help about how you can do that. Having done that, it brought me up, and you can see they've highlighted the keywords I was interested in. It brought up a number of articles, some of which I didn't already know about, and told me where they were published and so on. And then you get this Find It at Birmingham tab, and you can see whether it's available, and if so, where to find it. So it's a very useful sub-skill for doing research into already published work on the subject that you're interested in. So just recapping over the main points in this lecture and the previous one, you need to read about your topic before you start to do your own research, and then as you're doing your research. And as you do this, it'll tell you both about what other people have found out and also the methods they use to do so. Use the books and the library resources that you know about already, but also start to learn how to find journal articles, how to use bibliographic databases, how to move beyond what your tutors have taught you already and made available to you. And this might seem a bit daunting, but don't be scared. You can start to develop these skills now in your second year with a group. You can work with a friend if you like. You've got support, training and advice available both on WebCT and through the library itself. And as you develop these skills, you'll find them really useful for learning about what's been recently published in your field that you're interested in. If you get stuck with any of this, there are lots of people you can ask. The library are really helpful, the e-learning team are helpful. I'll try and be helpful if I can on this particular thing. And as I say, just enjoy exploring all the things that are out there that might be useful to you. The thing about using some of these tools that I've been talking about is that it does narrow down what could otherwise be quite a daunting, large amount of material to wade through. You can find, as you saw with my example, just 5 items that were to do with critical discourse analysis of the discourse about animals in journals. So it makes it a lot easier than just coming up with a topic and seeing how many huge numbers of things are available on that topic. So you might want to come back to this in the second semester, or indeed you can revisit at any point while you've got access to the wiki and the blog in this online module.